Okay, so now class, let's talk about this time naman colligative properties of our solutions. Okay. So just a quick recap lang ulit class, ito yung mga formulas natin para lang hindi makalimutan. Okay, so basically class, our solutions have mainly three properties. Okay, I think I've discussed this actually before pa lang, nung sa intro pa lang natin. Physical properties of our substances, of our drugs. Okay, we have what we call the colligative, additive, and constitutive properties. So class, pag sinabi colligative properties, it simply talks about how the number of particles in a solution affects the property of your solution. Okay, so basically class, it simply talks about the number of particles. Additive, on the other hand, depends on the total contribution of atoms in the molecules or on the sum of the properties of the constituents in a solution, such as molecular weight. So how does that affect the property of your solution? Pag pinagsama-sama ko na lahat ng to. Okay, and then lastly class, constitutive properties. So this one class simply talks about naman the arrangement, okay, and to a lesser extent, the number and kind of atoms within a molecule. Oftentimes class, pinag-uusapan dito yung optical rotation ng ating mga substances. Let's say, for example, is it levorotatory or dextrorotatory? Okay, surface interfacial tension, in part constitutive, in part additive. Okay, pero now class, we'll only be talking about colligative properties. So again class, pag sinabi natin colligative properties, it's the physical properties of solutions, okay, as dictated by the number of solute particles present. Okay? So their chemical structures class do not affect these properties. Kung pag pinag-usapan natin kasi colligative property, wala muna tayong pakialam sa kanyang chemical structure. Okay? Hindi natin papakialaman muna 'yon. Ang pinag-uusapan lang dito class is how does the number of the solute, okay, solute particles present in the solution affect the solution's physical properties in general. Right? So ano ba kasi yung mga usual na colligative properties na pinag-uusapan natin dito? Okay, we have of course class the vapor pressure lowering, boiling point elevation, freezing point depression, and osmotic pressure. Okay, so let me give you a quick rundown of what are these colligative properties all about. Okay, so pag sinabi natin class vapor pressure, okay, ano bang importance class ng vapor pressure natin? Okay, based on our discussion from last time, right, why is vapor pressure important? Anyone? Eh, bakit kailangan pag-usapan natin to? Eh, meron ba? Anyone who would like to volunteer? Okay, nagkahiyaan na ata. Okay, sige, di ba na? So now class, pag sinabi natin vapor pressure, di ba? Bakit ba importanteng malaman natin to? Kasi class, if you want a solution to start to boil, okay, di ba sabi natin para mag-transition ang isang liquid to gaseous state, okay, the vapor pressure of that liquid must be equal to the atmospheric pressure. Okay, so that a liquid or a solution will start to boil or transition from liquid state to gaseous state. Okay, so therefore class, ang importante class ang vapor pressure natin para malaman din natin kung ano ang magiging boiling point ng isang solution natin. Now think of it this way class. What happens to the vapor pressure of a solution pag naglagay ako ng solute? Okay? Halimbawa, tubig. Right? Anong nangyari class sa vapor pressure yan pag nilagyan ko siya ng asukal? Mas mapapabilis ba? Tataas ba ang ang vapor pressure ko or bababa? Okay, pag mas nilagyan ko na siya ng asukal. Okay. Meron ba dyan? May tao pa ba? Pero ko ba meron naman? Okay, tataas. Very good. Tataas ba ang vapor pressure? Technical class, hindi. Okay? Kasi ganito yan. Okay, isipin nyo class ganito Initially, mataas na dapat ang vapor pressure niyan. Nilagyan mo ng asukal, nag-add ka ng solute, ang tendency class, yung initial vapor pressure niyan, mawawala. Okay? Mawawala yung vapor pressure, yung initial vapor pressure nun. So, ang tendency class is, bababa yung vapor pressure niya. So, yes, class, kaya ang tawag dito, once we start to add solutes to our solution, nagkakaroon ng vapor pressure lowering. Gets? Kaya kasi ba pag nagluluto tayo, di ba nagpakulo ka ng tubig? Once you start putting in the ingredients class, what happens sa kumukulong tubig mo? Di ba tumitigil yung pagkulo niya? Because you added a solute. Nagluto ba kayo ng pansit? Okay, ng pansit canton. Pansit canton lang. Okay, di ba class? Papakulo ka ng tubig. Pag kumulo ng tubig, saka mo yuhulog yung pansit. Pagkahulog bukas ng pansit, nawawala yung kulo. Tama? Kasi biglang nag-lower yung vapor pressure ng liquid na yan. So tendency is, dahil nag-lower yung vapor pressure, titigil ngayon yung pagkulo niya. Antayin natin ulit ngayon ma-reach nung tubig na yon yung vapor pressure ng atmosphere para mag-start siya ulit kumulo. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So that's why class vapor pressure is very important. Determining vapor pressure class is very important, especially for solutions, para malaman natin kung kailan magbo-boil ang ating liquid. Okay? So we'll know how, when our liquid will start to boil. Kaya nga class, balik na naman dito si Clausius-Clapeyron equation. Okay, once I know what happened to my liquid after I put a solute. Now, boiling point class. What happens to boiling point? Okay? Now, normally class, tumataas ang boiling point natin kapag may solute ang isang solution. Okay? In its purest form class, normally, halimbawa water. The boiling point of water would normally be 100 degrees Celsius. But if I start putting it solutes, naglagay ako ng solute dyan class, hindi na 100 degrees Celsius ang required temperature niyan. Mas tataas na kasi nagdagdag ako ng solute. Now, class, the question is, what will be its new boiling point? Okay, yan yung ngayon ang question natin. Tama? Kasi nagdagdag ako ng solute. So therefore, class, I have to compute for that. Same goes with freezing point. Okay, medyo related class ang freezing point sa boiling point. Okay, actually, ang formula nila, iisa lang eh. Alright? Ang difference lang naman, class, is boiling point, ang usual temperature mo dyan, tumataas. Freezing point depression, temperature mo, mababa. Usually negative ang ano nito. Ang sagot natin dito. Alright? Now, what about for osmotic pressure class? Okay? Alam naman natin, you're familiar with osmosis, right? Right? Very good. Medyo familiar sa osmosis. Di ba sabi natin, class, ang osmosis is simply the movement of water molecule from an area of low solute concentration to an area of high solute concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. So therefore, class, the higher the solute concentration ko, ano nangyayari sa osmotic pressure? Okay? Yes, Miss Pihoto.
High po yung solute.
Oh, high solute.
Hypertonic po.
The hypertonic, what happens to osmotic pressure?
Bali po, kung sa cell po, mag-shrink po.
Okay, pwede na rin yun. Shrink siya. Now, class, let me give you an example. So, say, for example, this one is a container. Okay? So, tama yun. Mag-shrink nga naman siya. Now, this is a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, gawa natin ang application to. Halimbawa, class, andito yung high solute concentration. High solute concentration. Tapos ito, class, puro water lang to. It's pure water. Okay, that's pure water. Now, class, dahil may semi-permeable membrane dito, sa tingin nyo, lalabas dito yung solute? Makakalabas dito ang solute particles? Okay, normally, class, okay, very good, no. That's definitely a no. Kasi, class, para siyang filter, yung membrane na to. Para siyang filter. Pero dahil, class, mas mataas ang concentration dito, high concentration dito, ito nga, technically, wala namang solute dito eh. So, saan nagagalaw ang tubig? Is it going to the right or going to the left? Ang movement ng water ko. Okay? Very good, Mr. Reyes. Ang water ko, class, ang magiging movement niya will be going to the right. Bakit? Idadilute niya yung solute na to. Tama? It's going to try to dilute this solute here. Now, the higher the concentration, class, ng solute dito, kasi tandaan nyo, class, ang goal lagi ng water is to dilute. Okay? Dilute your concentrations. Right? Kumbaga, class, ang movement ng tubig natin sa loob ng katawan natin, okay, it will always go to an area of low to high. Okay? Tapos nadaan pa through a semi-permeable membrane. Low solute concentration to an area of high solute concentration via a semi-permeable membrane. So dahil, class, mas mataas ang concentration dito, ang tendency, water goes to the right. So, class, the higher the concentration here, mas lalakas ang movement ng water pa kanan. So, anong nangyari ngayon, class, sa pressure doon? Tumataas. Nagets ba? Yung paggalaw ng tubig na yun. Kasi, class, sa osmotic pressure, ang tinitingnan natin dito is how forceful is the water moving through a semi-permeable membrane. So obviously, class, the higher the concentration, mas magiging forceful siya kasi majority of my water will go to that area of dito sa area na to, sa area of high concentration. Eh, mas pupunta dito ang tubig ko. Kasi again, ang goal ng tubig natin is to dilute highly concentrated solutions. So are we clear? So what happens here? Tataas ngayon ang pressure dito. Okay, tataas ngayon ang pressure dito. Sorry. Hindi necessarily yung pressure dyan. Okay, yung movement na yan, through the semi-permeable membrane, tataas yung pressure. Okay? Yung paggalaw ng tubig na yan. Sige, class, I'll show you a good example here later. Okay, pero now, class, let's talk about vapor pressure lowering. So sabi natin, class, by definition, vapor pressure is the pressure exerted by a vapor that is in dynamic equilibrium with its liquid in a closed system. Ano ibig sabihin nito? The total amount of liquid evaporating is equal to the total amount of liquid condensing. Okay, condensing. Alright? So usually, yun yung vapor pressure natin. Now, class, if you start heating up the solution, di ba tumataas ang vapor pressure? Okay, as I put heat here, okay, pag nilagyan ko ng init dyan, ang tendency is tumataas ang vapor pressure. Kasi mas dumadami na ngayon ang nag-evaporate kesa sa nag-condense. Okay? So a solution, class, that contains a solute that is non-volatile, okay, not easily vaporized, usually causes the solution to have a lower vapor pressure. Okay? So ibig sabihin yan, class, kung ang pure solvent ko, ganito ang kanyang ganito yung kanyang initially high ang vapor pressure. Halimbawa, once na nilagyan ko yung class ng non-volatile, ibig sabihin, isang solute na hindi agad-agad nag-volatilize, hindi agad-agad nag-evaporate. Okay, once na nilagyan ko yung class ng non-volatile solute, like say for example, sucrose, yun na lang magandang example dito eh. Nilagyan ko to ng sugar, ang tendency, class, yung initial high vapor pressure niyan, bababa. Okay? Mas bababa ngayon yung vapor pressure ng solution ko because I added a solute, which altered now the property of my solvent. Does that make sense, class? Okay? So, yung sugar ko, inalter niya yung property ni water. Obvious naman, di ba? I mean, obviously, magkakaroon talaga ng alteration ng property ng water because you added now sugar. Okay? And it lowers now the vapor pressure of your water. Okay? Bumaba ngayon yung vapor pressure. Now, the question na lang is, how low did it go? Gano'n siya kababa? Okay? Dito natin ngayon, class, ipapasok ang equation ni Raoult's law. Okay? Kaya na may Henry's law tayo, solubility of gas to liquid. This is naman, class, we'll be talking about vapor pressure lowering, and the best way to describe that, class, would be with the use of the Raoult's law. Okay, pangit pala ng picture na nakuha ko. I thought it kind of looked okay. Anyway, so class, the formula kasi here is simply, okay, for the vapor pressure, class, is simply the mole fraction of your solvent multiplied to the vapor pressure of the pure solvent. Okay, vapor pressure of the pure solvent. So this is the VP of pure solvent. Okay? Now, class, since in this case, sa vapor pressure lowering, ang nag-aapekto sa vapor pressure natin is not the solvent itself, it's the solute. Correct? Kasi nung nagdagdag ako ng solute, biglang bumaba yung vapor pressure natin. So now, class, instead of using the mole fraction of the solvent, palitan natin ito. Instead of using the mole fraction of the solvent, let's replace it, class, with the mole fraction of solute. Hence, class, ang formula natin for vapor pressure lowering due to the solute, due to the addition of the solute, would be simply mole fraction of your solute times the vapor pressure of your solvent, of your pure solvent. Okay? Very good. So therefore, class, pag magko-compute tayo ng mole fraction ng solute, okay, the formula would simply be mole of solute over mole solute plus the mole solvent. Okay? Kanina, class, tingnan ito, mole fraction ng solvent. So anong numerator ko? Ang naging numerator ko would be mole of the solvent. Right? Mole solvent equals over mole solvent plus mole solute. Pero dahil ang kinukuha kong mole fraction ngayon is that of the solute, so therefore, instead na mole solvent, gagawin ko lang siyang mole of the solute. Siya magiging numerator ko. So same lang naman ang denominator. So mole solute plus mole solvent. And that will be now, instead of mole solvent, that's mole of the solute. Kasi again, ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is how did the solute change the vapor pressure of my solution. Okay, not just the solvent. Are we good? Are we clear so far? So yung klase ngayon na magiging formula natin. Vapor pressure lowering simply equal to mole solute times vapor pressure of the solvent. Okay? Let's have a sample problem here, class. Okay, calculate the vapor pressure lowering when 10 ml of glycerol, C3H8O3, is added to 500 ml of water at 50 degrees Celsius. At this temperature, the vapor pressure of pure water is 92.5 torr and its density is 0.988. Technically, 1 na rin, pero very precise siya eh. Binigay niya yung density ni water, which is 0.988 grams per mole. The density of glycerol class is 1.26 grams per ml. Sorry, not mole plug. Grams per ml, 0.988 grams per ml. Density of glycerol is 1.26 gram per ml. Now, class, how do I, Of course, ang required dito would be the vapor pressure lowering. Okay? Gaano kataas ang ibinaba? Gaano kababa yung pressure nung dinagdag ko si glycerol sa aking solution. Okay? Or if I add glycerol with water, 500 ml of water. Now, so kumbaga ang tanong lang dito is, if I add glycerol to water, ano na lang magiging vapor pressure niya? Okay? At 50 degrees Celsius. Okay? So sabi natin, class, ang formula natin dito would simply be, okay, vapor pressure natin would be mole solute times P sub 0 of your solvent. Okay? Or the vapor pressure of your solvent. Palitan na nga lang natin, VP na lang. Para pare-pare tayo ng VP of solvent. Na class, ano ba muna ang given ko? Okay? I am given the volume of glycerol, which is equal to 10 ml. Okay? Volume of solvent, which is water, it's 500 ml. Okay. Vapor pressure of solvent, VP of solvent is 92.5 torrs. Okay? Now, class, bakit sa tingin nyo andito ang density? Why do you think I have the given here for density? I have the value for density. Actually, pwedeng specific gravity rin to. Pero density na lang. Tingnan nyo, bakit importante si density dito? Okay? Palitan ko muna yung kulay nito. Anyone? Why do you think density should be here? Kasi class, sa lahat, magko-compute kasi tayo ng X-solute. X-solute is said to be mole fraction. Okay? So, di ba class, to compute for mole fraction, moles equals to weight over molecular weight. Tama? Or sabi natin, gram per mole. So obviously, class, ang kailangan ko dito sa aking mga substances, they should be expressed in weights. Right? In units of weights. Units of mass. Units of mass. Right now, class, glycerol and water ko are expressed in units of... Yes? Yes, Ms. Miyoto, sorry. Right now, my glycerol and water is expressed in units of...
Density po.
Not density. Okay, it's expressed in units of... Sorry. Mali rin natin yung pagkakatanong ko, sorry. Okay, right now, it's expressed in units of volume. Okay, kaya kailangan ko si density. Okay, because I need to convert my glycerol and water into grams, into units of weight. Now, class, if you remember, ang density natin, alam ko, sawang-sawa na kayo sa itsura ito, mass over volume. Naalala yung triangle na ganyan? So, if I want mass, ano ang gagawin natin? Okay? To get mass, very good. Density multiplied to the volume. So, therefore, class, ang gagawin ko lang dito would be 10 ml times, ano ba yung density ng ano ko? 1.26 gram per ml equals, tanggal si ml, wait lang. 12.6 to, alam ko, pero magkakalculator pa rin ako. Okay. 12.6 grams. Si water naman, binigay yung kanyang density eh. So, kunin na lang natin. 8 gram per ml. Cancel si ml. 500 times 0.988. 494 grams. Okay? So now, class, I currently have the weight of my glycerol and my solvent. Now, sabi natin, class, to compute for moles, I need my molecular weight. You still remember how we compute for molecular weight? Okay, halimbawa, glycerol. Okay, so molecular weight of C3H8O3. Nag-QC na kayo, right? Did you do, nag-compute na kayo ng mga molecular weights? Okay, kinda. Sige. So class, di ba si carbon is 12, ang molecular weight niyan. Hydrogen is 1. Oxygen is 16. Whole numbers na lang ha, para mas mabilis tayo. Okay, so to get the molecular weight, that's 12 times 3, 1 times 8, 3 times 16. And that would give me 12 times 3 plus 8 plus 3 times 16, 92. I'll be 92 gram per mole. That's for glycerol, correct? So that's the molecular weight of glycerol. Molecular weight of water, that's just 1. And 16, alam ko na to 18 grams per mole. Okay? So now, class, I have the molecular weight for glycerol. I have the molecular weight for my water. So next na compute ko dito, okay, punta tayo sa solution, would be X-solute. So sabi natin, X-solute is simply mole of solute over mole solute plus mole solvent. Excuse me. So, to get the moles of my, to get moles, sabi natin, weight over molecular weight. Weight over molecular weight. Ang weight ng aking glycerol is 12.6 grams. Divided by 92 gram per mole. Cancel. 12.6 divided by 92. I get 0.137 mole. Tapos ang aking water, ano weight ng water natin? 494 over 18 gram per mole. Cancel. 494 divided by 18, 27.44 mole. So therefore, 0.1370 mole over 0.1370 plus 27.44 plus 0.1370 equals. Okay, isa-isay natin. This is 27.5814, 0.1370 divided by answer. Ang kalalabasan would be 4.9671 times 10 to the negative 3. Is 0.004 something to or? So ko alam. 0.0049671. Now we're not yet done because that's just mole of solute. Okay, mole solute pa lang to. Kasi sabi natin, the change in vapor pressure or the vapor pressure lowering, okay, is equal to X solute, mole of solute, times the vapor pressure of the solvent. So vapor pressure of the solvent alone. So that's 0.0049671 times what's the vapor pressure of our solvent? 92.5 torr. times 95.2, we get 0.4729. No, close enough. Okay na yan. Okay? Are we good, class?
Sir, di po ba 0.459456?
Sorry, hindi na ako sinag-ground off, hindi nire-diretso ko sa calculator ko. So, si class minsan talaga nagkakaroon din ng difference, no? Pero ano yung sagot mo, Miss Kabalan? Sorry?
0.4594 or
4594. No, technically, parang 0.46.
baka yung
Opo, sir.
parang,
Ganun din po.
parang
sa akin.
na-input niyo po ata, sir, 95.2.
Ay, joke. Oo nga, thank you. Baka ako, see? Class, ingat kayo sa mga pindot-pindot dyan. Lalo pag dire-diretso kayo. See, tingin nyo, class, ang problema ko, pag ako'y nagmamadali, dire-diretso lang ako. Ingat kayo, huwag nyo akong gagayahin. Okay, ako yung wag tularan. 4, 9, 6, 7, 1. Oo nga, baka yun napindot ko. Whoops! Oo nga, ang galing mo ah. Mali nga ako, 95.2 nga napindot ko. 0.4595. Okay. Or yun na nga yun, 0.4561, pwede na rin, or somewhere within that ballpark. Okay? So are we good, class?
Yes
Okay.
po, sir.
So, ganun lang naman siya. So, I guess ang complicated naman dito would be to compute for the, for the mole solute. Pero kasi, class, right now, sa internet, kaya nyo hanapin ang molecular weight ng bawat isa sa mga substances. You can type glycerol molecular weight, bibigay sa yung molecular weight nyo na. In this case kasi, nag-compute pa ako separately. I just want to show to you, class, na just in case, kaya naman natin i-compute to separately, or you can just search it over the net, okay, para malaman nyo na agad kung ano yung molecular weight, and just compute directly for the mole. Okay? Okay. So, ito lang naman yung solution. Okay, docs. Next one, boiling point elevation. Now, sabi ko nga sa inyo, class, sorry, before I forget pala, ano magiging application pala nito? Okay, so obviously, class, in this case, in this problem that we had here, naggawa ako ng solution of glycerin and water. Okay, so obviously, class, if I use now glycerin and water at 50 degrees Celsius, alam ko na ang magiging vapor pressure niya would be 0.4595. Okay, due to the fact that I added glycerin. So are we clear? The solution, ang vapor pressure niya at 50 degrees Celsius would be 0.4595. Okay, now, class, hindi ko muna gagawin ito ngayon, pero I can ask here, the question is, what should be the temperature for this solution to start to boil? Gets? So dito ngayon, class, papasok ang Clausius-Clapeyron equation natin. We're in, class, ang magiging target vapor pressure niya, ang magiging P2 mo would be obviously 1 atmosphere or 760 torrs. Gets? Maliwanag ba tayo doon? Okay, then, class, you start to determine ano na magiging boiling point ng solution na ito. So, class, ano magiging application nito? Now, class, say for example, the solution of glycerol plus water ko, ayoko siya mag-boil. Right? So, therefore, class, para malaman ko, para hindi siya mag-boil, alamin ko yung boiling point niya. Correct? Para alam ko na pag malapit na ako sa temperature, bawas-bawas ng konti ang temperature para hindi siya mag-boil. If I know the boiling point na of this solution, of this mixture. So, nagets ba, class, yung application nito? Yan yung magiging application.
Yes po, sir.
Right? Okay. So, vapor pressure lowering. Now, what about boiling point elevation? So, the boiling point of a substance, class, is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid phase equals the atmospheric pressure. So, alam naman natin to. So, adding a non-volatile solute to a liquid solvent decreases the vapor pressure of the solvent. Now, because of the decrease in vapor pressure, additional kinetic energy must be added to raise the vapor pressure of the liquid phase of the solution to atmospheric pressure and initiate boiling. Now, for this case, class, so the boiling point of a solution is higher than the boiling point of the pure solvent. Tandaan natin yan. Okay? Kasi nga, bumaba ang vapor pressure natin. Right? As explained a while ago, using the Raoult's law. Dahil nagdagdag tayo ng solute, bumaba ang vapor pressure. Bababa ang vapor pressure ng solution, ng solvent. Okay, so dahil bumaba ang vapor pressure niya, tataas ngayon yung boiling point niya. Okay? So it's going to take a higher amount of temperature para lang mapakulo siya ulit because of the fact that I added a solute. Right? So the difference in temperature between the boiling point of a solution and the boiling point of the pure solvent is what we call the boiling point elevation. Now, to get for the boiling point elevation class, the formula is this one. Okay? Change in TB, or the total boiling point, is equivalent to I, which is the Van Hoff factor of solute, multiplied to a boiling point elevation constant. So this one is obviously a constant. Yung KB na to, constant yan. So, hindi yan magbabago. Ang madalas na kinocompute lang natin dito, class, is the molality. Okay? Molality. So, how do we again compute for molality? Actually, ayan na pala. Sorry, binigay ko ng ano. Okay? Hindi ko na i-hide. Yung animation dapat to eh. Anyway, so class, ang molality natin is simply mole of the solute over kilogram of, don't forget this ha, solvent. Kasi kayo na si molarity is the mole of solute over the liters of solution. Pag sinabi kong liters of solution, that already contains the combination of solute and solvent. This one, class, hiwalay. Si solvent lang. Weight lang ni solvent. Okay? So that's used to compute for molality. Now, another thing, class, na madalas nating pag-iisipan dito is the I. This one, this guy here, which is the Van Hoff factor of solute. The Van Hoff factor, class, is usually a ratio between the actual concentration of particles produced when a substance is dissolved and the concentration of a substance as calculated from its mass. Basically, class, itin na lang dito is how many ions separate after adding a solute. Normally, class, if you're adding a non-electrolyte, which is what we often do in pharmacy, rarely do we use, class, ions. Madalang na gumamit ng ions mismo. Okay, normally, class, ang di-dissolve natin sa mga, in the practice of pharmacy, practice of pharmacy, class, ang di-dissolve natin in water, we create solutions of non-electrolytes, such as sucrose, halimbawa. Automatic yan, class, pag non-electrolyte yung solute mo, 1 ang I. 1 yung Van Hoff factor natin. So, automatic 1 yun, pag non-electrolyte. Pero halimbawa, on the rare chance, gumamit tayo ng isang electrolyte, strong electrolyte, okay, wherein nagdi-dissociate siya, ang bibilangin mo dyan, class, would often be the number of ions that separates. How many ions na nagka-separate? Halimbawa, sodium chloride, NaCl. Pag nilagay ko sa tubig, ilang ions ang magsa-separate? Ilan na magsa-separate dito? Sodium chloride. If I put it in water, how many ions would dissociate? There will be 1. Mr. Reyes, actually there is 2. Bakit 2? Isa si sodium, kasi which is positively charged, isa si chlorine, which is negatively charged. Okay, so class, pag gagamit tayo ng sodium chloride, tapos titingnan natin kung ano yung boiling point elevation niya, okay, ang magiging I ko dito would be 2. Okay, pero okay, mag-alala, examples kung madalas is non-electrolytes. Kasi in pharmacy class or in, pag magawa tayo ng gamot, kadalasan ang gamit natin dito would be non-electrolytes. Kung di man non-electrolytes, they're very weak electrolytes, which normally, nagdi-dissociate, pero if you wanted to dissociate, kailangan mo rin i-adjust ang pH ng iyong solvent, which is we rarely do. Okay? So, basta usually non-electrolyte ang gamit. Huwag kayo mag-alala. Kung gagamit ng electrolyte, sasabihin ko naman ang I, para hindi na kayo mahirapan. Okay? Sasabihin ko na yan. Pero pwede rin yan i-compute, class, pero sabi ko nga this is not, gusto ko nang i-establish ang basics natin. Okay, basic foundation natin. Now, what about, class, if I use calcium chloride, CaCl2? Sa tingin mo, ilang ions ang magdi-dissociate dito?
3 po.
Very good. 3 to, class. Bakit? Isang calcium, 2 chlorine. Kaya nga CaCl2. Ibig sabihin, may 2 molecule siya ng chlorine. So therefore, class, if gagamit ako ng calcium chlorine, okay, ang magiging I ko would be 3. Right? That's 3. Are we good? Now, class, gawin natin komplikado. Paano, sir, kung naghalo ako ng sucrose plus sodium chloride plus calcium chloride? Ano na magiging I ko nun? Kasi pwede yun, di ba? Gagawa ko ng solution, mixture of all 3. Okay, ano na magiging I nun? Now, kasi may separate computation for that. Okay, you have to compute for I for that. But for now, sabi ko nga sa inyo, hindi mo natin pag-uusapan yon. Okay? Hindi mo natin pag-uusapan yon kasi magbabago din ang magiging boiling point elevation nun. For now, let's just stick to 1 solute, 1 solvent. Right? Kasi nagbabago rin yan, class, what if I use 3 solvents? Katulad kayo ng co-solvency, magbabago rin yung boiling point, freezing point elevation, and depression, boiling point elevation nun. Pero sabi ko nga, ang goal lang natin ngayong class is to establish your foundation. Let's stick to one solute, one solvent muna, okay? Okay ba sa inyo yun? Gusto nyo gawin natin itong komplikado, pwede naman. Okay, pero I advise na let's stick to one solute, one solvent muna. 1:1 muna tayo. So is this clear?
Yes
Good.
po, sir.
Okay, again, class, yung boiling point elevation constant, this is a constant value for specific solutes. Right? So, specific yun. Okay, pero just so you know, class, kung marami tayong mga compounds, isa-isa ang kino-compute yung boiling point elevations, then saka natin i-combine yung mga boiling point elevations ng mga yon. Okay? Anyway, so class, sabi ko nga, ito lang naman yon. KBM, molality, tapos yung boiling point elevation constant, tinanggal ko lang dito class si I, kasi again, sabi ko nga, usually gagamitin lang naman natin are non-electrolytes. So, 1 ang value niyan, so kahit hindi ko na ilagay. Right? Pero again, pag sasabihin ko naman class, pag electrolyte yung gagamitin nating solute, and para hindi na kami hirapan, bibigay ko na automatically yung I value. Okay? Then class, now I know that ang magiging bagong boiling point elevation niya. So to get the new boiling point class, normally ang gagawin ko lang dyan is TB of your solution minus the TB of the solvent. Okay, or the total the boiling point of your solvent minus the boiling point of your solution. Kasi ang makukuha ko dito right now is the boiling point of the solution. In here. Solution. So gusto ko lang malaman kasi gaano kataas yung magiging elevation niya. Alright? Okay. Now class, sabi ko sa inyo, similar lang kasi ang formula for boiling point elevation and freezing point depression. Okay? So ano naman meron sa freezing point depression? So when a substance freezes, the particles of the solid takes on an orderly pattern. So the presence of a solute in water disrupts the formation of this pattern. Okay, and as a result, more kinetic energy must be withdrawn from the solution than from the pure solvent to cause the solution to solidify. So basically, class, the freezing point of a solution is lower than the freezing point of the pure solvent. Similar to the boiling point of a solution becomes higher as compared to that of the pure solvent. Okay, so the difference, class, in the temperature between the freezing point of a solution and the freezing point of a pure solvent is called the freezing point depression. And the formula, class, is again the same lang. Except, ano ngayon ang constant ko dito? Instead na boiling point elevation constant, we have now the freezing point depression. Freezing point depression constant. Okay? A substance, class, can have a freezing point depression constant and a boiling point elevation constant. Alright? So are we clear? Kailangan ko lang lagi dyan, class, is to compute for my molality. Okay? Molality, which is the mole over kilogram solvent. Okay? So as not to forget. Now, if you want to get, class, the freezing point depression, ang gagawin lang natin dyan would be freezing point ng solvent, pure solvent muna, tapos iba-minus mo doon kung anong magiging freezing point ng iyong solution. Para malaman mo kung ano yung difference ng temperature na yun. How different would be the temperature. Right? Sige, mahirap tong i-say ng sabi-sabi lang. Let's have an example. So here are some examples, class, nga pala ng mga boiling point constant, boiling point elevation constant, okay, and then the freezing point constant. Okay, so ito naman usual na values na kailangan natin dito. Now this one, class, the boiling point of the solvent that we're using. Halimbawa, water. If you're going to use water, 100 degrees Celsius ang kanyang boiling point. At 1 atmosphere to lahat, obviously, at 1 atmosphere to. Tapos ang kanyang boiling point elevation constant would be, for water would be 0.512 degrees Celsius per molal. Okay, and then for its freezing point depression is 1.86 degrees Celsius per molal. Okay? Okay. So let's talk about class. So ipagsama natin yung freezing point sa boiling point into one problem. Okay, sabi natin kasi pareho lang naman ang computations dito eh. Okay. Let's say, class, you add 1 kilogram of ethylene glycol, which is an antifreeze, okay, to your car radiator, which contains 4,450 grams of water. Okay. What are the boiling and freezing points of the resulting solution? Okay, assuming, class, na ang Kb ng ating ethylene glycol is 0.512 degrees Celsius per molal, and its freezing point depression would be 1.86 degrees Celsius per molal. Okay? So, again, let's write muna our given. So, mga given natin. Okay, weight of ethylene glycol. So that's 1.0 kilogram. Sabihin natin, 1,000 grams. Okay? Meron din tayong weight ng water, which is equal to 4,450 grams. Okay? Okay. So, yun yung weight ng aking water. Now, ang kailangan ko dito, class, would be molality. Sorry, required. So, ako na required. Boiling point elevation at saka freezing point depression. Equals unknown, equals unknown. Okay? So, unang-unang compute ko dito would be my molality. Sabi natin, mole over kilogram solvent. Okay? So, ano class ang mole ng ating ethylene glycol? So, again, kunin muna natin yung kanyang molecular weight. Again, you can do the shortcut. Check mo na lang sa internet. Okay, pero gusto kong pakita sa inyo na kaya natin i-compute yan. Hindi tayo nagmamagic. O2. Okay, so this is 12. Tapos si hydrogen is 1. Oxygen is 16. So, wait lang. 12 times 2 plus 6 plus 2 times 16. You get 62 gram per mole. Now, to get the mole, N equals weight over molecular weight, and that would be 1,000 grams. Tandaan nyo, kailangan class in grams because ang ating units would be grams per mole, ang ating molecular weight. Cancel, cancel, 1,000 divided by 62. 16.1290. This is mole. Now, compute for molality. We have 16.1290 mole over. Ang kilogram solvent natin would be, well, if I was to convert this into kilos, this is just 4.450 kilograms. Because siguro kailangan pakita paano kinonvert to, no? Okay, divide by 1,000 lang naman to. It's 4.450 kilogram. 16.290 divided by 4.450. Okay. And we get a molal of 3.6245. Okay, molal. Now, doon mo tayo sa ano? Change in boiling point. So sabi natin class, it's Kb times molal. Okay, so ang Kb ko would be 0.512 degrees Celsius per molal times 3.6245 molal. So cancel, cancel. Matitira degrees Celsius. 0.512 equals 1.8557. Now, sabi natin kanina doon, nga ba yun? Wait lang. 1.86, thank you very much. Okay, wait lang ha. Sabi natin, pag ano, would be TB of the solution minus TB of your solvent. Okay? So, change in PP. What's the freezing point of my solution? Sorry, the boiling point. Okay. Well, actually, class, if I want to get the boiling point of this, ito na kasi magiging difference eh. Kumbaga, ito yung in-elevate. Okay? 1.185 yung i-elevate natin. So now, class, ang ating boiling point, okay? Ang boiling point ng ating water would be 100 degrees Celsius, correct? So that's 100 degrees Celsius Okay, ito yung sa solvent ko. So, technically, hindi ko dapat i-minus to. Ipa-plus ko to. It should be plus 1.8557. Kasi ito yung amount ng, the amount of heat that will be elevated, okay, due to the addition of ethylene glycol. So therefore, class, if I add all of this, I'll get 101.85 or 86 actually to degrees Celsius. This will be the new boiling point of water together with ethylene glycol. So nagets ba, class? Alright, which is the answer here. Okay? So yun siya. Okay. Now what about class 4 freezing point naman? Freezing point depression. So sabi natin, change in freezing point is equal to Kf times molal. So ang Kf natin is 1.86 degrees Celsius per molal times again 3.6245 molal. 1.86 times 3.6245. We get 6.74. Yeah, thank you very much. 74157. Okay, sorry, nakalimutan ko to, degrees Celsius. So meaning, class, this is the amount of temperature that needs to decrease from the original freezing point of the solvent. Okay, so now, class, ang freezing point ng ating solvent, diba sabi natin is 0. The freezing point of my solvent is 0. Correct? The solvent kasi natin dito is water. Tama ba? 0, diba? Okay. So ang kanyang melting point, class, tandaan nyo, melting point and freezing point is just the same. Yung sabi ko sa inyo, this is the part wherein a liquid turns to solid, at the same time, a solid turns to liquid. Okay? So ang freezing point ko is 0 degrees Celsius. Now this time, class, this is the amount of kaya depression, so meaning kailangan ko i-subtract. Minus 6.74157 degrees Celsius. So class, ang magiging freezing point depression ko would be, pangit na ng handwriting ko, negative 6.74 7415. na lang, okay na yan. Hindi na kasya, sorry, hindi na kasya sa aking sinusulatan. Okay, that would be, change in FP was negative 6.74. Okay, pwede na yan, degrees Celsius. So meaning, class, the new freezing point of the solution, of this solution, class, would be negative 6.74 or 73. Tama rin naman. Okay, baka nagkatalo lang kami ng libro sa sa rounding off. Okay? So pretty much yun naman yan. So are we good? Are we clear with this?
Yes, please.
430 na. Hindi, konti lang to, class. Huwag kayo mag-alala. Ano na lang, osmotic pressure na lang to. So ito yung solution. Okay? Lastly, osmotic pressure. So sabi ko nga sa inyo, class, di ba? It applies only to aqueous solutions. So two solutions of different concentrations are separated by a semi-permeable membrane which allows the water but not the solute to pass through. Yun yung purpose ng semi-permeable membrane natin dito. So it allows water to pass through but not that of the solute. So how do we develop an osmotic pressure? Now, assuming, class, bagong lagay mo to. This one, okay, here's the semi-permeable membrane. This is pure solvent. Ibig sabihin walang solute, water lang. Lalagay ako dito, class, ng solution that contains solute, obviously. Okay, meron niyang solute. So sabi natin, class, if I allow this after a while, okay, if I allow this to, kaya ko lang siya dyan. So ano, class, ang mangyayari ngayon sa water? Saan siya pupunta? Will it stay in the pure solvent or will it go to the solution? Okay, ang movement ni... Yes, Miss Pahoto?
Go to the solution po.
Good. Definitely, class, ang gagawin ni water is pupunta siya sa solution. Kaya nga ang travel niya, class, is to go to the right. Pupunta siya ngayon sa kanan. Kakanan siya. Now, class, dahil nga pupunta siya sa kanan, it's going to create what we call an osmotic pressure. So, ang tendency, class, is this side mas tataas. Okay? Itong B side. Okay? A versus B. Tataas ngayon, class, ang B side kasi ang ginagawa ni water is pupunta siya dito. Tama? It's going to try and dilute the solutes here on the B side, on the solution side. Okay? So of course, class, that movement of water is what we call the osmotic pressure. Okay? So therefore, class, okay, yun yung osmotic pressure na tawag natin. Kung gusto mo siyang pagpantayin, kailangan mo maglagay ng exogenous or outside pressure. Right? Para maipagpantay mo siya. Okay? So ang mangyayari dito, class, is I'm going to apply pressure needed to prevent volume increase equal to the osmotic pressure. So ibig sabihin, class, the amount of pressure that I'm putting here is actually going to be equal to the osmotic pressure. Nagets ba, class? Nagets ba? Just so you know, class, this is the process known as ang isa sa mga applications, class, ng principle na to is through reverse osmosis. Alam niyo ba yung mga purified water nyo na iniinom? Okay, usually, class, ang ginagawa nila dyan is reverse osmosis. Okay, what they do there, class, is through a semi-permeable membrane, maglagay sila ng tubig. On the other side is pure water. Okay, then ang gagawin nila, class, ipupush nila equal to the osmotic pressure para maghiwala yung impurities on the other side of the membrane. Okay? So, halimbawa, dahil pinupush ko to, nag-add ako ng pressure dito, equal to the osmotic pressure, ang tendency, class, yung water, clean water here, mapipilitan na lumipat dito. Ano na lang matitira sa tubig na to, sa solution na to? Yung impurities. Yes, parang sinasala, precisely. Pero, class, parang filter, tama. Okay, pero class, this one is with the use of osmotic pressure. Okay, or mag-add siya ng pressure mismo. Alright, now class, ang question lang naman dyan lagi is, sir, how much osmotic pressure do I need to produce para mag-equal ang volume ng one side of the solution to the other side of the solution? Kaya yun i-compute natin usually. Okay? So hence class, if we start to compute for osmotic pressure, madali lang din naman ang formula nito. Okay, it's simply class, ang osmotic pressure is represented as pi. Okay, yung kanyang, yung representation niya is pi. So, osmotic pressure is equivalent to I. Again, dyan si Van Hoff factor. Again, kung non-electrolyte yan, just 1. 1 lang gagamit natin dyan. Okay? Tapos M class would be molarity. Okay, sabi natin, class, ang molarity na to is mole over liter of
Solution.
Okay, iba sa molality, okay, which is mole of the solute over kilogram of solvent. Right? R class would be the constant, gas constant. Okay? Kasi class gas, technically gas, vapor, excuse me, atmospheric pressure ang nagda-drive sa osmotic pressure natin. Okay? So that's why you have to include gas constant here, which is 0.08206 liter atmosphere per mole Kelvin. Okay? And then the temperature class where you're doing everything. Kasi again, temperature plays a vital role with pressure. Okay? So ang temperature natin class dito should be in Kelvin. Very good. So using this formula, class, you can compute for osmotic pressure. Okay? So are we good? Okay. However, class, so okay sana yun, osmotic pressure. Pero kasi ang dali lang i-determine ng osmotic pressure. Okay? Kasi may device tayo pang measure niyan. So technically, I don't have to compute for that. Right? Kasi may device na ako that can measure osmotic pressure. Okay? Now, class, isa sa mga main application kasi ng osmotic pressure talaga is actually the determination of molar mass. Okay, to determine the molar mass of a solute, of a unknown solute. Yun na lang. Okay? It's usually the use class of osmotic pressure mas ginagamit yung computation, yung equation na yun, ginagamit yun to determine the molar mass or the molar mass, tama? The molar mass of a unknown solute. Unknown solute. Yun ang pinaka-application yun. Okay, so in principle kasi any colligative property naman can be used, pero osmotic pressure gives the most accurate result. Pwede akong gumamit class ng boiling point elevation, freezing point depression, or vapor pressure lowering. I can use that to determine the molar mass of any unknown solute. Pero ang mas gamit na gamit kasi is osmotic pressure. Kasi nga may device tayo na pang-measure talaga ng osmotic pressure. Okay? Ibig sabihin, class, in any given situation, I can have osmotic pressure as a given, basta may device ako. May instrument ako to measure this. Now, class, ano example nito? So here we have a sample problem. Okay? A biochemist have discovered more than 400 mutant varieties, of hemoglobin. Ibig sabihin, this is an unknown hemoglobin. It's hemoglobin, but it's a mutant. So I don't know the molar mass of hemoglobin. If this is just the regular hemoglobin, hanapin ko lang ang chemical formula ng hemoglobin, makukompute ko na yung molar mass niya. Correct? Makukompute ko na yung molecular weight niya. Okay, but in this case, class, it's a mutant hemoglobin. So I don't know its molecular weight. Okay, so hemoglobin, which is the blood protein that carries oxygen throughout the body. Now, a physician studying a form of hemoglobin associated with fatal disease first finds its molar mass. I need to find first its molar mass. So, ang ginawa ng physician natin is, nung scientist natin, or ng biochemist, o sino man sa kanilang dalawa, okay, she dissolved 21.5 milligrams of the protein. Na-isolate niya si protein, yung hemoglobin. So, nag-dissolve siya ng 21.5 milligrams of that protein, the mutant hemoglobin, in water at 5 degrees Celsius to make a 1.5 ml solution. Okay? 1.5 ml of solution, and measures the osmotic pressure, at nalaman niya yung osmotic pressure, which is 3.61 torr. Okay? Yun daw yung osmotic pressure. Okay? So what is the molar mass of this hemoglobin mutant? Okay? So first things first, ang sabi natin, ang formula natin is, mag-derive muna tayo, no? Okay, sabi natin molar mass equals I times molarity times R times temperature, right? Okay, isang straight na ganito. Now, class, since this is a protein, obviously it's going to be a non-electrolyte. So, automatic 1 na to, yung I ko. Okay, so kahit hindi ko napansinin yan. So, now, class, ang kailangan ko dito would be my molarity. Okay, kailangan ko dito would be my molarity. Okay? So, transfer ko lahat. So, that would be molarity equals osmotic pressure divided by R and T. Okay? So, now, class, my osmotic pressure is said to be, asan na yun? Okay. Asan mo? Kaya sabi ko, sulat mo ng given. Yan ba yan? Naghahanap patuloy ako. Given natin is weight, mass equals 21.5 milligrams. Okay, temperature is at 5 degrees Celsius. Ang ating volume ng solution is equivalent to 1.5 ml. Also, ayun, osmotic pressure is 3.61 torr. Okay, now class, let's do some conversions muna kasi kailangan ito ay Kelvin. That's plus 273. 73 plus 5. 278. Kelvin. Tapos ang aking volume should be in liters. So that's 1.5 divided by 1,000. Okay. 0.0015 liters. Okay. Tapos yung torque ko, well, obviously this should be in atmosphere kasi ang R ko is in atmosphere. Right? So, ang R ko would be 0.8206. Yeah, thank you. 0.8206 liter atmosphere over mole Kelvin. Okay. So, classic torque ko, 3.61 torr. I should convert this to atmosphere. At syempre, dahil nasa generation na tayo kung saan libre naman ang internet, okay, hanapin ko muna yung conversion, hindi ako marunong mag-convert. Okay, gumagamit lagi ako ng pang-convert. Okay. Torr to atmosphere. Calculator. Okay, 3.61 is equivalent to yun, 0.00475 atmospheres. Okay. Okay. 0.45. Alrighty. Now, asa na ba ako? Okay, sorry. Molarity. So, therefore, class, ang aking molarity would be 3.0. Kaya pala nawala kayo. 0.00. 475 atmosphere over R, which is 0.08206, okay, liter atmosphere per mole Kelvin times 278 Kelvin. Okay, so wait lang. 0.08206 times 278 give me, sorry, tanggalin ko muna yung mga pwede ko tanggalin. Atmosphere, atmosphere, Kelvin, Kelvin. So matitira nito as molarity. 22.81268 divided by 0.00475. 0.00475 divided by answer. This is going to give me sulit na nga muna, 2.0822 times 10 to the negative 4 molarity. Kasi matitira lang dyan, class, would be mole per liter. Okay? Okay. Now, ang kailangan ko lang dito, class, is molar mass, which is the molecular weight. Okay, so sabi natin, class, di ba, ang formula natang, ang mole, okay, or to get molecular weight, I just need my
Weight over molecular weight po.
So, weight natin over molecular weight. Okay? Sorry, before anything pala, kailangan ko muna yung mole ko. Okay, pero ito gagawin natin, ha. So, ang mangyayari dyan, class, would be molecular weight is equal to, what do you call this? Punta ko na blanco po. May tumatawag kasi kaya nadidistract ako. Sorry. Mamaya ka na. Sorry. Sasagutin din kita. Tatawagan na lang kita. Okay. That would be weight over mole. So, molecular weight will be weight over mole. Now, to get, class, our mole, di ba sabi natin, gamit natin yung formula ni molarity. So, molarity kasi is equivalent to mole over liter solution. So, to get mole, I have my molarity times liter solution. So, now I have my molarity, which is 2.0822 times 10 to the negative 4. Diretso ko na, sorry guys, times 0.0015 liter. Eh, matitira lang dyan, class, would be mole. Times 0.0015. And that would give me 3.1233 times 10 to the negative 7 mole. Okay? So now, class, if I need molecular weight, I'll just divide weight over moles. Okay? Okay, tama. Tama nga ba? Tama. Weight over moles, right? Okay, so now, as ng weight ko, I have a mass, class, which is 21.5 milligrams. Okay, again, I have to convert this to grams. 21.5. Sayang yung ano ko. Ano na nga? Sa calculator ko tuloy, tatanggal ko pa. 1.5 to 1,000. This is 0.0215 grams. Okay, so 0.0215 grams divided by 3.1233 times 10 to the negative 7 mole. Okay. Divided by 3.1233 exponent negative 7. Okay, I'll get 68,000 837. Ayun, thank you. Ayun, 0.4. Mabilis nyo mag-compute, ba't ako ang bagal ko? This is gram per mole. Alright? Or, 6.89 times 10 to the 4th gram per mole. Okay, so that's our molecular weight. Right? So are we good, class? Are we clear?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. So ulitin ko, class, most of the application of osmotic pressure, okay, yung formula na yan is not more on determining osmotic pressure itself, but usually determining the molecular weight, okay, of unknown substances. Okay, like this mutant hemoglobin, kung saan ang molecular weight niya is 68,837. Ibig sabihin, maraming carbon yan, maraming whatever, maraming nitrogen. Kasi since it's hemoglobin, it's a protein. Okay, so that's that. So are we good? Are we clear, class? Okay, pwede ko naman magpa-compute ng osmotic pressure, pero again, ito yung application niya talaga. Okay? So yun ang solution.